Welcome to this week's episode of Sojourner.
Welcome back to the ongoing series, How Spaces Define Masculinity, a Black and Black-Biracial Men's Initiative. My name is Carol Jean Matthews-Shifflett, and I am the CEO of the Sojourner Group. I'd like to start by thanking my sponsors, the Utah Jazz, Planned Parenthood Association of Utah, Pacific Island Knowledge to Action Resource, PCAR, the Utah Coalition Against Sexual Assault, UCASA, and Inlighten Productions. Let me introduce Charles Odoms of Hartford, Connecticut. Charles has a master's in social work, is a counselor of men. He is also the founder of Black Heritage Film and Discussion. And next we have Al Davis from Washington, D.C. Al is a pianist, composer, and an IT business owner. And lastly, we have Jack Haslip. Jack is from Salt Lake City, Utah. Jack is a retired director of career and student employment services from Salt Lake Community College. Gentlemen, welcome. So here's a question. Do any of you have sons, and have you expressed sons that you've expressed thoughts on masculinity to? Or grandsons?
Yes, I do. I got three hard-headed boys.
Right. Yeah.
And,
Where did they get it from?
and we've had the conversation about what it means to be a man, what it means to man up and take care of responsibilities and those types of things. And they, not only my conversation to them, but their conversation back to me about this time in this era. You know, there was a time in my development where there was women's rights, all of those kinds of things, and men had to sit back and to readjust or recalibrate what a woman was and how to treat that woman and all of those kinds of things. Now, given where we are in this society, you have to be able to say, just because you go out and you earn more money than me, it doesn't hurt my masculinity, because I'm still able to defend, protect, and provide at the highest quality I can, regardless of all of that kind of thing. And you being a strong woman just adds to this mix. So we're just going to go out and conquer the world.
Yeah, I'm not intimidated at all by a woman who makes more money than I do, or who can take charge sometimes. That's fine with me. You know, I don't have a problem with that.
So
if you can do it better than me, go ahead and do it.
Yes.
Why do you think that Black masculinity is a threat to society or to white society?
Oh man, that's the easiest question you've ever asked.
Yeah.
And I forget whether it was Charles or Jack who said this, but white males in this society have always known that we are generally better at them than anything, better at anything to them. We have always super excelled.
Yes.
I have one of my angriest. This is this thing that goes with me to this day that I have to deal with is, and I don't mean to sound angry about this, but it does anger me, is mediocre white men in positions that I knew somebody just gave them.
Yeah.
And they know they're mediocre. And the more I find there's so many mediocre people. And the thing is, they know they are. And that we've gone through this in our entire society. When you look at what Black men were able to do while we were being oppressed, you know, with the whip on our back and the family, that has not gone unnoticed by the majority of society.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the reasons for them trying to continually put and keep us down. Basketball changed when we got in it. It was just no longer the same.
Yeah.
We changed it. We changed tennis. We changed football. We changed medicine. George Washington Carver did more with a peanut than Thomas Edison did with a light bulb. You know, so I hate to be getting away from the issue of the question, but that's one of the things, the challenges we have in this society. And it is a fear of Black men. And that fear is our survival rate.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I said, I always somehow knew that we were black men could do things better than a lot of white guys. But you talk about the NBA and the NFL, my cousin called them the Negro Football League and the Negro Basketball Association, because of all the black guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think and that thing remains a challenge even today. Now, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. So we got Jay-Z, we got Dr. Dre, we got a lot of other rappers. Guys are fabulously wealthy, and they have businesses. They're in fashion. They're in this. They're in that. And they got their capital from drugs because no bank was going to ever loan them a dime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So their business acumen was sharp all along. They were better than most of them. They just didn't have the capital. And so they identified the capital the way they could. I'm not justifying the selling of drugs. That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is, this is what the majority of society recognizes. It says, we don't even have to give them bank money. I mean, we don't even have to, they're going to find a way.
Yeah.
And still become billionaires.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. If my comment on that would be, yes, there's a threat. Black masculinity always has posed a threat. And if you take a look at what has happened with Ford and individuals that you have like 2 and 3 policemen, one black man, holding him down, putting your knee on their neck as though they're a Superman gonna jump up and to the sky and so forth, or shooting them when they're running away because they're gonna come back and the threat is so clear at this particular point in time that black masculinity is a threat to white society.
Yeah.
And has been for so many years. And so it's got to, we have to understand that. That's why we tell our my young sons, put your hands out the car, when you stop by a policeman and that kind of thing, because once they see that you're black, they're going to put their hand on the holster and it gets bad from there. Yeah. So you really have to realize that black males, black masculinity, the threat of that to white society has driven white society to do a lot of different things that have been not right. Just out of fear.
Yeah.
And my wife said something to me today. She said, someone said that the society should be lucky that black folks don't want revenge.
Oh, yes.
Don't want revenge, just want equality.
Exactly.
But that whole thread about being black, and I keep saying every time I see this happen, why are you so threatened that you gotta pull your gun?
Yeah.
When there's 2 and 3 of you and one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of us, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
what D.L. Hughley said, he said, the most dangerous place for a black man is in the mind of a white man.
Yeah.
This view of us.
Yeah.
The other side of that that makes me angry about this, though, is that takes away our humanity. I'm human, and I have a right to be wrong.
mm-hmm.
I don't have to be this whole idea now. And I heard you say, because what you tell your sons, you tell them that to keep them safe, right?
Yes.
And understand they get an opportunity.
Yeah.
And this generation, and they recognize that, but they still chafe against it. Because
they do,
because exactly, because and that's the thing that bothers me. It bothers me about having to do that, because you're taking my humanity away. I shouldn't have to be Superman. I shouldn't have to be perfect. I shouldn't have to be good. I shouldn't have to be anything but me not breaking the law. But when it feels I got to go through all of these things, because of this sense of my black masculinity being some superpower, like you say. Even though it is, it takes my humanity away. It takes my humanity away. And that bothers me And I'm not sure what the answer to that is. I've talked to my son about it. My son's 29 years old. The age difference between him and my daughter is 11 years. She's 41. And he doesn't really get it, except that he's wide open. It's like, oh, what's wrong with me? And that's this new generation. Well, I didn't do anything. Yeah. What's wrong with me? And that's good, but also dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yeah. That you hit on something that I think is important for me to remember is that, see, and getting back to those young black guys and all that stuff. Now, here we are in this society, and as a black male, and I'm the idea of masculinity. Now, I gotta sit here and take these slights and insults, because if I don't, I might end up dead. So all of my life, I swallowed stuff. So, and when I look at black males and those young guys nowadays, the damage that it does to us. Some are damaged more than others, but I can see the dysfunction and the damage in them. They don't have respect for things because of the damage that's been done to them. And I'm damaged too. I'm not speaking from a perch. I know I was damaged by that experience of being a black man in the society. It's a hard. Some days I wake up, I'm doing just fine, and walk out the door, and something nails me to remind me that I'm nothing but a nigga.
Wow.
And man, then some days you want to kill somebody. Some days you can deal with it.
Yep.
Some days, man, you just want to cry. Just want to sit down and cry. It hurts. Some days it really hurts. I'm quite sure you guys have experienced the same thing, man.
All of that, man. Yeah. All of that.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Assault on our masculinity and our humanness. Yeah.
I remember about 15 years ago. No, maybe might have been 15 years ago. 10 years ago, I was in therapy, and my therapist was a black man, right? And so he's listening to me go through these issues, right? And he said one thing that made all the difference to me. He said, "Al, you got to remember, no matter what anybody says, that you count." And this society has been trying to take that away from me.
Right on.
I'll never forget him saying that. That I don't know if they had anything to do with masculinity or not. I guess it was because I was going through all of this stuff. But that was something that when he said that, and that's why I can remember. Now, he said a lot of other stuff. I truly don't remember a lot of the other stuff, but I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, can I say, Carol, before we get off of that, just quickly, there's a professor at the University of Utah, and he talks about fatigue, racial fatigue.
Racial battle
fatigue. Yes,
racial battle fatigue.
Yeah, racial battle fatigue. And so, Charles, as you talk about us all being damaged, you're absolutely right. I believe, I know that sometimes I had to swallow hard. Yeah. I couldn't get up and tell them exactly what I thought in my mind because of my work, my job, all of those kinds of things. Yeah. And you do become fatigued. Yeah. And it's like it's like you're in a war, continually in a war. That's why you have to come home. Yeah. Out to your garden or go to the lake and fish. No, all I'm saying is that it's the fatigue is real.
It's real.
Yeah, it's real. And it builds up over the years. And
it eats at you. Yeah.
And here's a little caveat. I want to throw this in because I think it's important. So what happened here in Hartford is everybody ran to the suburbs and the black community because we were integrated or whatever. They let us move into the suburbs, and we left that safe haven. When I got to the north end, I knew I was home. I could find out what was happening tonight, the parties or who, but that's all gone for me now in Hartford. So there's no black community anymore, like it used to be, and that was a balm for me, a salve, and it really soothed me.
We've had this discussion before. A gentleman at the church that I was at grew up in Hartford, right? His name was Roland Caldwell. He passed, but we had a discussion about, was integration good for the black community?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. It destroy. I don't think so.
That structure. We, like you were saying, we had all these black lieutenant lived in our neighborhood. Stuff like, I mean, all these people. It was a mixed neighborhood. It was. We had all these different socio-economic strata right in one neighborhood.
Right in one neighborhood.
Like you said, like in Southeast. You know.
Exactly. Everything was there. Anybody scared of anybody? The poor people.
All the black people were together.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
My lawyer from Norfolk, she said she lived in a neighborhood called Capistrano. She said, and the right across the street was the projects, right? Yep. But they were all friends.
Yep. Yeah.
So they just across, and that's how we grew up. But when things got integrated, we were like separated, and all of us became targets.
Okay. There's some black guys. I don't think they're really black because they moved to Manchester. They don't even sound like me.
Exactly.
It's weird.
It's weird. That's right.
When they moved you away from your communities, it kind of took away from your idea of, you had to change. You had to, I don't want to say assimilate. I don't know if I want to use that word, but you had to mold yourself to be like, quote, like particular men in that environment, because you were a black man and there was always this negative image of you. Is that what you're kind of saying?
I mean, some of us tried to assimilate. I mean, because there are brothers, who I just felt like they just straight up trying to assimilate. And basically, I look back at it now, and I'm saying, okay, they were trying to survive, and they thought assimilating was going to help them survive, and that's fine, that's well and cool. But you ended up lonely.
Yes.
It's lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I just want to hit on that. Malcolm X, I think, said it best. He said, "We've been bamboozled. We've been hoodwinked. Mm-hmm. They made us believe that what they were doing, we were trying to get to them, wherever that is or whatever it is, to be white or to do." So a lot of us bought it. A lot of us bought into it. Yeah. I'm not. I was one of them. So then, when you get there, you're not accepted. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So exactly. So but we were bamboozled and hooping. That's what I'm telling you. We all bought some of that. Right. That idea. White is right.
That's right. And the civil rights movement, its focus on education and integration was the reason. Now, my parents were never strong integrationists, and they didn't fall for it because I don't know, probably because of the era they grew up in. Again, like I said, my father was born in 1914. My mother was born in 1920. So they grew up, in a whole different environment. They grew up not believing white people. They knew better.
Yeah, and not trusting.
There you go. That's the term I'm looking for. You're right.
What was that term?
Not trusting. Yeah. They didn't trust them. Yeah. And we were encouraged out of the civil rights movement, to trust them, because they told us that if we get educated, then white people will accept us. And if we become economically successful, then white people will accept us and what that was basically saying was we were the problem. And we got out there, like you said, and found out we ain't the problem, they the problem. But now I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've had that same situation. Time and time again, in my career, as I moved through my career, and being alone at that particular table, whatever that had to be, with all the directors of Career and Student Employment Services, when they got together, I was the only black person in that group, and so it is something that you can't. I'm a physical person, and I when I get excited, I raise my voice. But I found out I couldn't even raise my voice. Yeah. What's wrong with Jack? What's wrong with, did I offend Jack? When I'm just trying to get my point across.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it does. I think I've been bamboozled too.
Oh yeah.
And I've heard that, before, Jack. We are an expressive culture, but we're not allowed to be expressive because it doesn't fit the mainstream culture. So therefore, there's something wrong with us, not something wrong
Yeah.
You're angry.
Yes,
you're
you're angry.
angry.
Right.
Yes.
Stay tuned for the next episode on How Spaces Define Masculinity, a Black and Black biracial men's initiative.